Welcome back to Crank and Cadence. My name's Patrick and today is Revenge Day. You joined me just now in my warm-up before my race today on Hell of the North. And if that name sounds ominous, it's because it is. It features probably my most hated climb on Zwift, the Petit KOM. So in my last Zwift outing, I was thoroughly humbled. While it was my second best effort ever up that climb, I was completely dropped by the leaders and left to finish a lowly 19th out of 35 riders. Today we're racing on Hell of the North, a course which takes in the same climb, and so I'm out for revenge. Hell of the North is predominantly flat for the vast majority of the race. The final climb is the real selection point. And one of the things that's been suggested in the comments that I can potentially improve on is my drafting on the flat. You see, I always try and stay in the sort of front third of the peloton. The logic being it makes it easier to mark any moves. However, I think sticking so rigidly in that position is not always optimal for saving energy. So today for the entire flat section, I'm gonna be a bit more relaxed about it and see what happens if I kind of move around within the peloton a little bit. Now when it comes to the final climb, the Petit KOM, aka the Nemesis, that's when I want to be in the front third, so that if the group splits, I'm on the right side of it. Now wanting something and making it happen are two different things. Whether I can actually hang with the front guys, I'm not too sure, but that's what I'm gonna try. So in summary, conserve energy right up to the climb, position myself well on the climb, and at the very least, my goal is to beat my previous record up the Petit KOM, which is about 6.5 minutes at 280 watts. So the final climb is really going to be all or nothing for me. I'm still carrying a wee bit of extra timber that I brought back from my holiday in Italy, which is suboptimal for climbing, I think you would say, but I'm not here for excuses. I'm here for results. You can tell by the way I laughed halfway through that I really meant it. 3, 2, 1, and we're off. It's a relatively small field today, 21 riders. In my experience in the past, when it's a smaller field, weirdly it can sometimes be harder. But the plan is, for basically this entire first rolling section, stay connected to the group and try and maximize the draft. That's quite a strong start here. Hopefully that settles down in a wee minute. Okay, my strategy hasn't worked. There's been a split further up. I'm going to try and chase back onto it.
Letting a split get up the road this early in the race would be absolutely terminal for any good finishing position. For reference, my FTP is around about 250 watts, so sitting around 400 watts like this is a pretty major dig for me. Definitely not ideal for this stage of the race, but this is what was needed to salvage, a halfway decent result.
Oh, that was not ideal. I did not want to be using energy like that so early. Maybe my whole theory about floating around in the group wasn't so excellent.
I think basically what went wrong here is that I underestimated how important the corners are. Obviously climbs and things like that are important inflection points of the race, but twisty sections like this can affect the draft too. I should have been more mindful of this. I should have been positioned nearer the front for this twisty section of the course. Luckily for me, it's a long way to go till the final climb, so I have time to recover, but yeah, not ideal. While we're enjoying this relatively quiet section of the race, can I kindly ask you to subscribe if you haven't done so? It really helps the channel and I would appreciate it greatly.
Okay. Seem to be doing okay now. Things are settling. The heart rate's back under control after that impromptu closing of the gap. I have to say, I find this dangling out the back quite stressful, because if anything does launch, the amount of energy that I need to put in to close it is much higher. I feel more confident and more comfortable nearer the front. Not on the front, but like 1 or 2 back. Okay, back on the road. The cobbles increase the rolling resistance, so they kind of act like a bit of a hill. It can sometimes catch you napping a little bit because it looks flat, but the power that you need to put in to stay connected is actually higher than on the roads. Anyway, Operation Conserve Energy continues.
So along this sort of flat road section here, this is much more what I had in mind when I was thinking of conserving energy. I can hold 180, 200 watts for hours, so this is absolutely perfect, and this is going to keep us in good condition for the final climb.
Okay, I think we're doing a bit of a better job now. This is kind of where I want to sit, I think. Not off the back. I've been off the back a bit too much, I would say, but kind of in the group, but not on the front.
I'm really interested to hear what other people have found about pack positioning, so please leave a comment with your findings. Do you prefer to be in the front third? Do you prefer to hang around near the back? When do you like to move up, etc, etc. I'm sure that all this info will be helpful for everybody, so feel free to share down below. As yet another cobbled section was met with great enthusiasm by me,
Oh god, more cobbles.
my mind started to drift towards the challenge at hand in the Petit KOM.
As always, not looking forward to the Petit KOM at all. It sort of looms on the map. However, at least I know once I get to the top, that's the race over. And really, while I would love a good result, I'd be perfectly happy with just setting a PR up it. Hopefully the two go hand in hand. I'm going to try and save the feather that I've got for that final kick up at the end. That I think is the steepest part of the climb, and that should be really where I drop the feather unless I absolutely need to drop it before, which to be fair is somewhat likely.
Just for anyone who's new to Zwift, the feather is a sort of power up that you can get in the races, and basically it makes you lighter, which of course on the climbs is very advantageous. So if you get a feather and the course features a big climb, it's normally worth saving it until you hit that climb, until you're struggling, or to maximise your sort of final sprint to the top.
Nearly there now. So previous PR, 6 minutes 29 at a power of 280 watts. So we're looking to beat that today. The tactic, try to use the steeper parts to apply power and the shallower parts to recover slightly.
The logic of the strategy is that on steeper inclines you essentially get more bang for your buck from power. And this is the way that everybody races the Petit KOM. They attack the steep sections and try to recover on the flats. So if you don't follow this strategy, you're basically buying a one-way ticket to getting dropped.
Okay, here we go. Let's try and stay relaxed to this early portion. I've got a bad habit of tensing my shoulders up. Some guys dropping their feather already, which isn't a good sign for them.
At this early point in the climb, I'm basically just trying to stay relaxed and stay efficient. It's really easy to kind of go out the blocks a bit too hard and blow up before you've even made it halfway up the climb. So I'm trying to stay in the wheels, stay in the draft, and just keep things turning over smoothly. I need to save energy for the remainder of the climb.
I also want to try and stay seated for as long as possible, because I think you use less energy when seated.
Again, this is something that I'm trying to improve. Basically, staying seated is more efficient than standing on the pedals because you're not supporting your entire body weight. Your body weight is supported through the saddle. So I try to stay seated, keep the cadence nice and high, and only when my muscles are absolutely screaming do I stand, and then I can use different muscles basically to apply power. The only exception to this, of course, is if I need to close a gap or I need more power than I can apply while seated, but otherwise I'll basically try and stay seated for as long as possible.
I need to catch up to this group.
Now, while I've been rabbiting on about all this, you'll maybe notice that I'm starting to get dropped, which is really not ideal. We're still quite early on in the climb. Maybe I've been a little bit too conservative with my power. So at this point, I'm trying to put in a bit of a dig to stick with them. Once you get dropped on this climb, it's basically impossible to catch back on. But luckily for me, I have it within me to get back onto these leaders.
Okay, let's just stick with them.
Even though we're going up quite a decent hill, the draft is still definitely in effect here. You can see the speeds around just over 20 kilometers an hour, so there is still a draft benefit. And yeah, as you can see, once again, I'm having to shut down a bit of an attack and bridge across. A few riders were getting up the road. I had to get across to them so that we could kind of drag each other up the remainder of the climb.
Oh, oh, the pain is getting real.
Okay, so here we go, caught back on, and now there's a small amount of recovery where the power drops before things kind of get going again. As we hit this sort of steeper ramp, you can see power starts to go up again, and I'm just trying to sort of cling on. I'm sticking with this group okay, but I'm definitely not the strongest rider here. I'm kind of just hanging on at the back. You can see now as well, there's been one rider that's basically broke away from our little group here. I'm very nearly getting spat out in the back. This guy that's at the front, there's no chance I'm keeping up with him. He's away as far as I'm concerned. Really, I'm just trying to cling on to these sort of front runners, and it's really just kind of pure stubbornness that's keeping me here. Just to reiterate as well, my FTP is only around about sort of 250-ish watts, so holding over 300 watts for such a long time is a big challenge. Now as we get to the top, this is where things went really wrong, because basically I was looking at the route profile and didn't realise that the climb sort of finishes before the very top. So I completely cocked it up basically, and I didn't really do my final sprint at all. I definitely think I could have possibly made the podium here had I sprinted properly, but I misread it and I didn't get the climb profile right. It's so frustrating.
I misjudged the finish. Oh no. I was looking at the route profile and aiming for the top of the climb. That's so disappointing. Oh no. I definitely could have podiumed there because I didn't even really sprint. The win wasn't on, but the podium was.
Now I've screwed up some races in my time. This genuinely has got to be one of my biggest screw ups. Not knowing where the finish line was. Just don't even start. Anyway, let's head to the cooldown now for some sort of final thoughts and a little bit of a self-flagellation on my lack of success there.
Okay, so we're in the cooldown now. Let's talk about what happened there. So that was, in a word, a disaster. Basically, I was focused on the incline tracker thing, and I was looking for the top of the climb, and I didn't realise the finish line was sooner than that. So I still had a sprint in me. I could definitely have got on the podium there. The win was gone, but second, third, I could have done that. The lesson there, watch a route preview before you do a race. That was shocking. On the plus side, new PB for the Petit KOM. 6 minutes 27, 289 watts. Now granted, it's only 2 seconds quicker than before, so kind of in a sense the main goal was achieved. However, even that, had I sprinted for the line, I would have knocked another couple of seconds off probably, maybe bumped the average power up slightly. I still had that in me. Oh, what a fool. In terms of my strategy of pack dynamics, basically being not so welded to the sort of front third as I normally am, I'm not sure that really worked. That big dig that I had to put in early doors to close the gap, I mean, I don't think it affected my final climb, but it's definitely not optimal. Also, I just find it kind of stressful being that far off the back. You just kind of feel like you're barely hanging on. Whereas when you're in the group more, you feel that you have a bit of slack. So I don't think I'll be doing that technique again. So anyway, to finish on some positivism, some lessons learned, I need to remember to watch a route preview before I do the race. I think my pack dynamics idea didn't really play out as I had hoped, but new best effort at Petit KOM, so there's that. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be covering a lot more Zwift racing on this channel, as well as outdoor rides, gear reviews, and much, much more. I'd love to have you along for the ride. You know where the subscribe button is. I'll catch you on the next one.